hardest part about this is at the beginning, people are like, what I expressed at the beginning was a desire to defend my rights. I still believe, like, we lost in court. We can maybe, like, we could appeal it or whatever after the plea and stuff. I don't know if I'm going to bother with any of that shit because I kind of just want to be done. Like, I just want to move on and not worry about anything. But I still believe that the warrant is unjust. I think maybe my lawyer didn't do the best job explaining some of the stuff. And when I talked to him prior to hiring him, we talked about things. I'm like, this is what I want to attack the warrant, and I want to attack that search, and here's how. And I laid out a whole bunch of shit. And when it came down to it, they didn't want to do the work that I said. But we're talking about you're just like 2 days before the deadline to submit your motion. And I'm like, but we talked about something way different. We talked about something much bigger. And they're like, no, this is a strategy we need to go with. So you're like, well, this is why I hired you, I guess. And so you go with their strategy. It doesn't work. I don't know that my strategy would have worked at all. I have no idea. But I do believe that there are some unjust things about the warrant, but that's now over. And my desire was to exercise my rights to the maximum, and then people are like, "Oh, Nick's trying to avoid accountability or responsibility." Like, no, I want to take all of the accountability and responsibility I have for the things that I did. If I could win first, I would love to win first and then tell you all about all the cocaine I did. Like, I don't care that much about what I did. I made decisions that maybe weren't the best, and like they ended up manifesting in some really bad consequences. That's how life goes. But I don't ultimately mind. I'm not like running away from it. I'm not trying to say there was anybody else. So people took that desire to say, hey, like, look, you want to exercise all your rights. You never know, like, who's involved. Like, government could be involved. Some other people could have done something to cause this, and like, so you want to make sure justice is served. So they'll take that and be like, oh, he's avoiding this, or he's trying to, like, people said I blame the government. I've never once accused the government of a conspiracy against me or of planting anything. I have said you don't consent to searches because you don't know what the government might even accidentally plant just due to the nature of their jobs. But this is shit I've been saying for years. I have never suggested that happened in my case. To my knowledge, didn't. Now, the government did do some bullshit. I have, and I actually don't think it was nefarious. It's just how things played out. I have on body cam the one of the sheriffs actually touching my daughter's hair with gloves that had just handled bags of cocaine. Like, and then, there's like, oh, well, you exposed your daughter to cocaine. I'm like, I never fucking did. Not a chance. And I think she may have accidentally been exposed by this guy, but there's no way for me to prove it or anything. But I do have it on body cam. And so I have to, like, talk about how this can happen at some point. Again, this isn't the right place. My show isn't the right place, but it will be addressed at some point. And there's a ton of stuff out there, and I have an expert who agrees that that can be the cause of this thing. But people have misperceptions about drug testing. But I'm tangenting. I'm sorry. People thought I'm trying to avoid accountability or responsibility. It's like, no, I didn't want to go to prison because I still needed to be there for my family. Like, my wife and kids still exist no matter what happened. So avoiding prison is the priority at the beginning. And I said at the beginning, my reputation is going to take a fucking hit, and there's nothing I can do about it, because what I have to do right now is I have to just say, like, I have to just say, we're fighting for my rights. I believe this is unjust. And I can't just come out and say, yeah, guys, of course I had a bunch of cocaine. Like, you can't say that at the beginning. And anybody who thinks you can, like, I'm sorry, this isn't New York City. This isn't LA. I'm in a small county. There are like 5 county attorneys. And I've had live streams that are 3 times the population of my county. So, like, just to give you an idea of how little it is. People are like, oh, you need to plea out. It's like, you can't just call them up and plea out. The plea offers weren't on the table. I didn't even get discovery started until fucking July. So it's like, I don't even know what they have. I don't even know what they're claiming. And they're not in a place to start offering plea agreements yet. So I have like Nate, the lawyer, calling me up and like, Nick, man, you got to plead this out this week. The week I get arrested, he's like, you got to plead this out by the end of the week. You got to get back to streaming. You got to plea out. I'm like, Nate, it doesn't work that way out here. He was a New York City prosecutor, and so up there, sure, you get someone with an ounce of cocaine. That's not surprising for them. So they could plea it out in a week. Down here, like one of the detectives, like this one of the top 3 or top 5 cocaine busts in this county ever.